Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast. We are doing something a little different for the next, month or so. We have decided again to come back from last year and cover a handful of the films that are being premiered at FrightFest this year, the 2025 FrightFest. And this time I have Chantal joining me for the event. So we're really excited and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Okay, so the next film we are going to cover is Sane Inside Insanity, the Rocky Horror Phenomenon, directed and written by Andreas Zerr. It's the story of a lifetime, a script, a play, a movie, unprecedented success, and everlasting fame to be part of Rocky Horror. Sorry for the long pause, we'll edit that out. Katie, what did you think of this one? This is also perfect because we covered Rocky Horror recently.
Exactly.
And it's the 50th anniversary?
50th, yeah? 1975.
Yeah. As I try to do quick maths. Yes.
Yes.
50th anniversary.
Yes.
So what do we think of this one?
I thought this one was really good, actually. I did really like it. I learned so much more about this film because obviously, if you're not familiar with the podcast, me and Tel are massive fans. We've seen the show, we've covered the film on our podcast. So we had to do this one. Like if we got the opportunity, we had to do it. Um, yeah, I just learned so much about this film, and it was really fun to get a bit more insight because obviously we're fans, so we kind of know the fandom of Rocky Horror, but to actually watch it on screen and see what lengths people go to celebrate the film was really fun. I mean, I'll get this in quickly because it's not a massive deal, but the only thing for me is that this film was slightly too long for a documentary, and I feel like at the end it did get slightly repetitive. Like I think it could have wrapped itself up a lot earlier than it did. Um, but yeah, what about you?
Yeah, agree. It was an hour 40, so it doesn't feel that long, but yeah, like you say, it got repetitive because they kept people would say a quote thinking they were really original, and then like 12 other people would use the same quote.
Yeah.
And then they'd show you every person saying, but they did that several times, and I was like, okay,
Yes.
we get it.
Yeah.
Which would have been like cute for one quote at the end, but a bit much to do it over and over. But
Yeah.
it also showed how much it meant to everyone, but was also like, okay, we get it, because it also meant a lot to us. Like, you'd have to pretend it meant a lot to we know. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, kind of gutted this didn't come out before we'd already covered it. However, I think that's the beauty again of like Rocky Horror and horror actually, is that you just keep learning about it. Like
Mm.
every time we cover a film, we're like, God damn it, I missed XYZ and I missed this, and we're never going to get it all in there. So I was like writing down facts more
Mm.
just because I was really interested.
Yeah, same, same. I know. I was just like, oh, that's cool.
That's so
Just,
cool.
yeah, no, honestly.
I think
Like,
there's also, sorry,
no, 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 you go.
I think there's also another Rocky Horror documentary coming out as well this year. So you can tell it's the 50th because everyone's just like getting so excited.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's great. It's lovely like seeing that hype. And I think, when we spoke about it in our episode, like how people and fans just absolutely adore this and how
Mm.
it does still have that hype
Yeah.
today and people will go see the film constantly and like it will never get boring for them.
And I think that was the amazing thing because again, like I think things that I'd misunderstood was that when it was getting popular in the cinema and like the midnight showings, they were like, oh, it's sold out every week. And it wasn't really till I watched this that I realized it was the same 50 people who kept
Mm.
turning up. And I thought that was really cool because I was like, it's essentially the original hipsters who were like, well, we're going to start a trend and the rest of you are going to follow.
It's
But I
true.
mean, if you love something enough and they put everything into it, it paid off. But like, can you imagine having been in that original crowd?
I know. Imagine and then knowing what it's like today. Like they probably just thought, this is such a weird fucking sorry, weird musical. Like why why do I like it? And then
Yeah,
imagine like looking back at it now and
yeah.
seeing,
And that was
yeah.
it. Like, we obviously knew it came out like a time where, a difficult time where it was difficult to be gay. And it was, I mean, not saying that it's easy nowadays, but it was difficult to be gay and especially difficult to be transgender or express yourself in a way that isn't conventionally norm.
Mm.
So actually, but also what I didn't realize is this was coming out, and he was coming out at the same time and just down the road from Stonewall. Like, I didn't realize they actually crossed, like, those huge events were so close to each other. I just didn't realize that. So I was like, that's insane. That again, you've got such love happening in the cinema and absolute horror happening down the road. And I was like, that's mental.
It really is.
Also, I say horror, but also, you know, everyone that fought. But again, like, you look back at the people who fought at Stonewall, and this isn't the podcast to go into the history of it, but fucking look it up if you don't know it, because it's incredible. But yeah, it's just crazy that was happening. Literally, I didn't realize streets apart.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So close as well. It was cool at the beginning, actually, hearing Richard O'Brien singing science fiction, like, just on his guitar. It was very, like, Bowie-esque. It was just so, like, raw, like, hearing it. And it was like, that's how he started this musical, and this phenomenon was like, just playing a couple of notes on their guitar. And I also, the other fact I really loved was that Columbia was invented for Nell Campbell.
Incredible.
Which was so funny, because it always seems like it's just like, she was just made for this role, like, kind of how I felt about Patricia Quinn with Magenta. But, like, yeah, I love that they were like, we want you in this, so we're going to make this character. And Columbia is one of the most popular characters in the film and the musical. So, like, how interesting, like, that was just randomly made because they wanted her in the cast.
Which, like, again, like, you do know, obviously, like, other films where that's happened, but again, in a film that has this such cult following, to know that was made for you is incredible.
Yeah, because at the time it's probably just like, yeah, fine, I mean, that's nice, cool. And when you're in it, maybe it's not as amazing, but I think, like, if she, like, looking back, it's probably a big deal, you know.
Well, I love that as well, because, like, some of the things I wrote down was, again, like, looking back, was Rocky Horror was an accident, and I was like, actually, that's the perfect summary. Because, like, everything that happened wasn't, because again, another thing I wrote was, like, how the actors and producers all sit there and they go, oh, it was rough as, like, Rocky Horror is a terrible film because like, how rough it's edited, like, everything, not edited, but, like, how everything just came together. But it's the audience made the movie. And I was like, again, it just sums it up. Like, we said, even when we watched it, like, we love it and we have our friends and everything, you get really into it. Like, you can't not get into it even when you watch it on your own. You don't sit down going like, oh, I'm gonna watch it for the filmography and like, everything. You watch it because it's great, but it's everything around it that makes it incredible.
No, it's true. There were some great quotes as well. Like, I heard one which was really lovely, which was Tim and Frankenfurter are inseparable. I think that's so nice, because I guess the character of Frankenfurter obviously meant, like, a lot to Tim Curry, and he obviously started playing that character from the beginning, and they kept him on. And just it was kind of fun to see, like, he made this character his own, and then everyone was just so influenced by that, and that's really lovely. And another one was, when you're acting, it's B-movie acting, which is actually really true. I've never really thought about it, but it really is true that acting is so, I mean, obviously it's very out there and very exaggerated, but it is very B-movie.
Not great acting, like,
no,
but it was B-movie acting. But when you're singing, it's your rock and roll dreams come true, and I was like, that's so perfect.
It literally sums it up beautifully.
The other thing I learned as well was, I always thought the shouting that, like, you do at the show, and as we said, like, in the film there's pauses, I thought those pauses were because the shouting started with the play. I didn't realize it actually, the shouting didn't start until the movies.
And
I was like, I had that completely the wrong way around. Like, I thought that's why some of the weird awkward pauses are in
that. I know, same. I thought that was all the show, but it, like,
no,
it was really
weird.
That's so crazy.
That's so funny. I love as well that they give Dory Hartley, like, a lot of attention. He was like the first was like I can't think how, like, shadow cast, I think, as Frankenfurter was, like, trying to, like, make it all, like, taking Rocky Horror to the next step, so making it the show while the movie was playing in the background in the cinemas. And I thought that was really cool that they gave words. Like, like a lot of attention and mention, because again I was like, I actually don't know a lot about any of that, because again we were so focused on the actual film.
Yeah, like the behind the scenes stuff, like Lou Adler, who was kind of came across a little bit as a villain in this film, like how it was a lot of it was about money for him, and yeah, he made choices that not necessarily a lot of the kind of writers agreed with. So
Yeah,
all of that backstory I had no idea about, but it's kind of interesting to see how a cult film is formed, like how it's made. Like I've never really thought about it before, and how what makes a cult film, and this documentary, I think, like sums up perfectly.
but I think that's the fact, you can't make a cult film, like the cult has to make the film.
Yeah,
And that's the crazy part, is that it's literally an accident. It has to be an accident. So it's just
yeah,
mad. Absolutely. We need to just make a film and hope for the best.
yeah. Basically, we'll just do that. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, the songs. I think I kind of, we said this in our episode about Time Warp, but like obviously some of the songs were different and how Time Warp was added in to make it longer. But then like some of the other songs were originally different as well. And it's so
Mm.
weird. Because as you say, like when you see like them originally playing them and you're like, well, clearly that was always meant to be like that song, and it wasn't. And then, or it was, I don't know, I'm fumbling my words, but
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
No.
weird to imagine another song in that place or that song sounding different.
Definitely, it feels like it's all meant to be where it is. Like
Yeah.
it feels like it's all fallen into place.
Yeah.
Um, what I found really interesting is how the actors and the original crew spoke about how the stage show, they changed the stage show and upgraded it to more like the film,
Mm.
ironically, because obviously, that wasn't how it started. And I got a quote here: "It was small. It should have been kept small," which I think was really interesting because like me and you have never watched it in a small environment. It's always been in a big theater, and that's kind of how we've grown up watching it. We've either watched it on a big screen or and the fandom and the cult has already been there since we were born.
Yeah.
So obviously we can't really have that opinion, but it's very interesting, like people that started it off, is it because they miss the nostalgia of it, or is it generally because it was more of a punk rocky sexual freedom, like gritty musical,
I
and now it's more
yeah.
kind of like,
Anyone and every, I feel like that's probably for a lot of people when it first started, it was a safe space. And it
yes,
was, again, it was like the same 50 people, maybe 100 people. And although it's amazing the level it's got to, even like the small, like, if they were in a different city, so it was a smaller thing, it was their family, everyone probably knew each other by name. And now it probably feels like a lot of strangers coming in. So as much as like you and I are like, oh my God, it's the best thing, I can imagine if you were one of the OGs, it probably
mm,
does feel like people in your space, especially when if that was your safe space.
yeah,
That was
that's
the
true.
only place you could be your true self, and then suddenly loads of because again, like you and I turning up on a Friday night to have fun. I mean, we grew up in Brighton where we can be very free. Is a privilege we don't get. You don't get in a lot of other places. So I do
Right.
get that where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, here we're saying. But again, as you say, we can never experience it in a small
No.
environment to know that. And again,
Yeah.
that's me absolutely speculating. Every person has probably got a different opinion on if they prefer it big or small. So,
Mm,
but and again, I think it's amazing that so many people want to share it with so many people. But I
mm.
understand there's some who are like, oh, but it was so good when it was small.
Yeah, but I think it's because it used to be this, because there was nothing like it when it came out. It was so punk rock and so gritty that
Yeah.
they wanted to keep it that way, but it got to a lot. Well, I don't think so, obviously, because I don't come from that background, but a lot of people felt like it got too musically, like it got too kind of polished.
Mm. Which,
Which is a fair point. I mean, again, it's very hard for us to kind of agree with that because we
yeah,
don't come from that. But it's very interesting that a lot of people have that opinion, especially the kind of OGs.
it's also hard because like I get what they mean, but I suppose if you've been doing a play or a musical for so long, it's gonna get better because
Mm.
like I know the actors, it's a bit different, but like they know the songs perfect. They know they can improvise better and
It's just the way of that things go,
yeah. But obviously with this more money getting thrown at it, they had bigger stages, bigger
Exactly.
props. Like I imagine it took away a lot of that grittiness, which is probably a shame.
Yeah,
I would
for
love
sure.
to see this with like literally someone wearing a hat and being like, I'm obviously Columbia. Like
Yeah, see, done.
and having nothing else to show. Like I'm obvious, you know who I am. Because that's what it started as.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. But yeah, just so much about the film and the way it was made is just so much that we didn't know. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, yeah, little bit repetitive at the end because of we kind of get it at a certain point that like it is, we love it.
Yeah.
So many people love it, and as you say, it's been a safe space for so many people,
Yeah.
and that's so important to like reiterate. But I felt like it was kind of they were just stalling a bit. I don't know for time. It just felt a little bit repetitive, and it could have ended a bit earlier on. But at the same time, the only criticism I have of it is how much people loved it. Then I think that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, that's true. That is also very true. Who would you recommend this to?
I think if you like Rocky Horror, then
So that's probably an easier one for this one, isn't it?
I think if you're a big fan of like cult films, I think if you like musicals, I think there's a lot in there that you could like learn from, and that there's a lot about the stage production which I really like, because you can kind of read up what you want about the film, but the stage production actually from the original cast, most of the original cast, is really interesting. So I think if you're into that kind of thing, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think even if you're not a huge fan of the film, but I think if you want to know why people are,
Yeah,
like, I think this, yeah, like you say, because it just tells you so much of the history and the stage
yeah,
and how it got to how big it. Because again, I imagine like some 18-year-old watching Rocky Horror now and being like, I don't get it. But
yeah. No, definitely.
well, how do you have to go back a bit and like understand? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard trying to explain.
It is. It is. You just have to watch it.
Although I
And
think
you'll either get it or you won't.
yeah, I did put down, oh my God, the story about the glitter. So if that doesn't entice you to watch it, you have to go and watch and learn about the story about the glitter.
Yes, absolutely.
And what are you giving it, glitter out of 5?
Glitter out of 5. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5. I really liked it, but the half is just for the reasons I said. It just was that little bit too long for me. And I feel like it made a couple of the same points, but other than that, really interesting. And it is biased because it's one of our favorite films, and we are obviously going to be interested in how it's made. So yeah, but also I think it's a very well made documentary. It keeps you engaged. There's a lot of information and a lot of pictures and like memorabilia and things from the original. So that's really interesting to see. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 4. Similar reasons. It just kind of went a bit long and was just a bit repetitive. I think the only reason I'm going down a little bit is, again, because it's the 50th year and so many documentaries come out. I want to know, like, is there anything in this? And again, I could be like, there absolutely could be. I haven't watched all the documentaries yet, but like, what is in here that makes it completely different to the others? But again, I think they did an incredible job of the storytelling. As I said, there was so much that I hadn't even considered, like what was actually happening around it, as well as just the history of Rocky Horror.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, they did an incredible job telling that story. So maybe that's the downside, is just maybe you want to go and watch everyone else's films as well, which is, probably not great for their ratings, but yeah. Well, go check it out. Definitely go check it out. And I'm hoping, again, that it will make the Rocky Horror come back on tour again, because I was looking up, I was like, when are they back round our way?
Yeah.
But, as if we haven't had them enough. We'll share them with other people. But yes, go check it out and enjoy.
Enjoy.